You're watching Inside the Boardroom. Now, I want to shine the spotlight on a company aiming to shake up the trillion-dollar consumer cloud market. While giants like Google and Apple dominate, MiMedia is carving its own space by partnering directly with telecom carriers and device makers. Now, that's unlocking new revenue streams while giving consumers a smarter, more secure way to store and enjoy their digital lives. It's a pleasure to welcome Chris Giordano from MiMedia. Chris, thanks very much indeed for talking to us.
Thank you very much. It was a great intro. It was well written.
Well, and I'll tell you why I did that, because I'm so curious as to how, with the players like Google, with the players like Apple, being associated with cloud storage, where did you see the gap and decide to challenge this?
Great question. So we saw an opportunity. First, we wanted to build a cloud platform for consumers. So the cloud originated out of the enterprise. And when it got to consumers, and I'd argue when the iPhone came out, it made mobile access truly enjoyable and ubiquitous, et cetera. You had a lot of like digital lock boxes or digital boxes. There wasn't much engagement, not much of an experience there. Consumers like experience. You see Pinterest, for example. What is Pinterest? Pinterest is basically bookmarking, but they had a great UI and they made it really simple for consumers. And so they became Pinterest and a huge company later on. So we wanted to create a very consumer-oriented cloud to make cloud easy. I'm going to politely argue that cloud is still very early in its inception. I think that a lot of people have heard the name cloud, but they really don't know what it does. I would say it's early in the US, in Canada. It's even earlier in the markets that we're going after, which is namely LATAM, Africa, Southeast Asia, the Middle East. This is where the next new billion smartphones will come into the market. We want to be first movers there. So we wanted to create a very consumer-oriented cloud, one that really focuses on privacy, which I think consumers realize now it's very important. Consumers don't feel like, places like Facebook is private or Google, for example, is private. We wanted to make them feel comfortable there. We wanted to give them a nice dynamic visual experience with their content. We want you to enjoy. You're spending all this time going like this, videotaping or whatever else. If you don't revisit those photos down the road or videos, we have a lot of features that resurface them and have them consumers re-engage with those memories. Then what's the point of taking them, right? So we have that angle towards our platform. But when we realized that we couldn't go directly B2C and spend a lot of marketing dollars to go after consumers, we went out and decided to target telecom carriers, telcos, or smartphone manufacturers, device manufacturers, OEMs, which you noted earlier in your intro. We wanted to partner with these guys because they've really missed the consumer cloud market. As you said, it's $1 trillion market. How could they miss that? And yet they own the most important assets, the consumers themselves, the phones that they give their consumers, and the networks that they tore up our streets to build to provide service to the consumers. And they're not extracting enough value from those assets. So we've built a $50 million, we think it's the best consumer cloud platform out there for a number of reasons. We come to these guys and say, look, it took us 6 years to build this. It's scalable. It's deployed all over the world, 20 different languages, what have you. We're going to give it to you, telco or OEM, this platform for free. You've missed the cloud market. How could you do that? Apple, Google, Facebook, they're riding on top of your assets for free, taking all of the cloud revenue, sharing zero with you. And in fact, iCloud analysts project will do $15 billion in revenue for Apple. That is not a small number. Google Photos, around the same. Verizon, AT&T, we estimate is less than $150 million in revenue per year versus $30 billion with Apple and Google, right? Those are all estimates. So we come and say, you're missing this market. It's $1 trillion market. These photos and videos are taken by your consumer on the phones you give them and over the networks that they share them over. How could you not monetize that? So we give them an opportunity to do so. We partner with them. They integrate us as the default media gallery on Android phones. We can't do that with Apple. And we can generate mobile advertising revenue on day one. We could generate storage subscription revenue as well. We believe we can generate as much as $5 to $10 per phone for these partners, and we split that revenue 50-50. In fact, actually, $5 to $10 is their cut. $5 to $10 would be our cut. So it's meaningful. If you're talking about some of the partners that we have with the consumer bases they have, we could generate hundreds of millions of dollars of recurring revenue for them, and high margin, by the way, 60 to 80% margin. A smartphone manufacturer will make 2 to 4% per phone. They kill themselves to put as many cameras on the phone as possible and all that. They only make 2 to 3% from a bottom line perspective. We give them 80% margin. So it's a very attractive business model for them as well.
I want to talk about that because that model is very interesting. You've blended that storage subscription with the advertising.
Right.
Again, go through those benefits for me. I mean, how that seems to be something that can draw in the cash.
Well, they're two proven business models, right? So storage subscriptions, I mentioned, iCloud making $15 billion for Apple. That's at, low conversion of their free storage users to paid. So there's a lot more growth there. And I think generally speaking, if you look at ARPUs of, $2, $3 per month or whatever, those types of pricing plans, you're talking about protecting your most priceless content. That's not a lot for a consumer to spend, considering you're spending, $10, $15 for Netflix, $10 or $15 for Disney Plus, all these different subscription services that we've signed up for. So yeah, I think that these are two proven business models. Mobile advertising, of course, has gone gangbusters since COVID. Instagram is doing 15 ads in a 24-hour period. They're bigger than Facebook as a result. We're talking about the numbers that I cited earlier are about 2 to 3 ads in a 24-hour period, non-intrusive. So yes, from a partner perspective, there's huge benefits. But from a consumer perspective, again, we really have a wonderful experience. We really make the cloud easy to use, fun to use, safe to share, and consumers own it. It's device agnostic. They can move from a Samsung to an Apple or vice versa and take their entire library with them.
I was going to ask you that on the user front. What exactly is the experience when a user acquires a phone that already has MiMedia uploaded on it? How's this different?
Well, we actually get integrated into the core system of the phone at the system registry level. So we're a system app, if you will. So we're that native gallery. So you take the phone out of the box, you hear so much about the camera, right? First thing you do is you take photo and video to test it out. That goes down into our gallery, goes up into our cloud. So it's seamless. Yep. And it's right there. And so consumers typically will use what's there. We make all of that very accessible, all of it very transparent in terms of the features and what it's doing. I think there's a lot of confusion around people that use iCloud and Google Photos, what exactly is happening. Ours is, I think, we really aim to be very transparent and clear about that.
Chris, you've partnered with some big giants here, right? You said that you were targeting particular markets. You've partnered with American Mobile, Walmart, and LATAM. Major device makers as well, right? What are they feeling about telecoms or telcos and manufacturers? What are they feeling about cloud at the moment?
Well, they realize that they have largely missed the opportunity.
Because alluded to.
Yeah, because they're, fundamentally they are network people at their core, or they're hardware people, right? So typically software, they don't necessarily do as well, or they have, it's not their core focus. And so as a result, they've missed this opportunity, but they do understand how important the cloud is. They do talk about, family plans and family sharing and what have you. The cloud, consumer cloud, is perfect for that. It sits right in the middle of all of that. So it sits in the middle of all of their strategic plans. Now also, by the way, from a business perspective, advertising is becoming a lot more important as a line item for telcos, for example. And so this also fits perfectly there too, because we're the first ones to take over this real estate on the smartphone, but we're also the first ones to monetize it as well.
Yeah. Listen, you take engagement seriously. I've read that. Mm-hmm. And yet that, engagement in your particular initiative seems to be above industry standards. Why is that important?
Again, when we started out, we really tried to build something for the consumer. Yeah. And we wanted to make it fun. We wanted to be a place where you go and hang out, organize your content, and enjoy your content, relive your content, your memories, the most priceless stuff that's on your phone. When you drop your phone in the toilet, you're not worried about the battery or the glass or what have you. You're worried about your photos and videos and your contacts. So we wanted to do the best job possible in making that not only secure and accessible on all devices, but an experience. And so we're proud about the engagement numbers that we've been seeing and have seen, because that's exactly what we built the platform for.
You've got 30 million devices, just to wrap up. What's your sights on next? What's the future looking like?
Well, to be clear, 40 million now signed, contracted to integrate on. These will be starting to ship this quarter and well into 2026. 2025 got a little confusing with some of the tariffs and what have you, but our partners have rebounded from that, and now they're beginning to ship on their smartphones in this quarter coming up, as well as well into 2026. I think 26 is going to be a really good year for them and the industry in general. So it's exciting time for MiMedia because the revenues are going to begin to pick up dramatically. And since we're a software-oriented business, our margins are very high. That'll fall to our bottom line.
All right. Chris Giordano, thanks very much indeed for your time.
Absolutely. Pleasure. Thank you.